Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It's episode 96 as we edge closer and closer to that milestone 100 episode. My name is Tonchi Prusak. It's a pleasure to be with you here tonight. And a very warm welcome to you, Steve Curtin, my colleague and partner in crime. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks, Tonchi. If you'll indulge us, it's been a really action-packed day of traveling between Melbourne and Geelong, vacating a house and having dentistry work done for my lunch break. So it's good to cap it all off with an episode of our show and to spend an hour with your good self, mate. But how are you?
Very good. It was a huge weekend of football as we start to move towards the off season. The last day of NPL and Men's State League action, we had 3 out of 4 Geelong teams that were in contention for a championship title, a premier's title, crown premiers on the weekend, and straight away we'll go into that and a big round of applause. I think that goes to, first of all, Barwon. Well done to Barwon. Well done. They do well. The men's State League 5 champions. What a great result that was. The equation was very simple. They just had to win on the final day, which they did. So for those of you that missed out on last night's Football Out West show, Steve, we had the pleasure of, amongst other guests, chatting to Dale Harris, and what a colourful character he is.
Well, the party was happening at Dale's house last night. Well, I think it was Dale's house, unless he was visiting one of his club colleagues. But it was certainly a good atmosphere in the background. And Dale, he's good value, isn't he? In the title win, well, it couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. Good guy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about all the other results as well. But from the women's as well, the Invincibles. Lara United, we had Ryan Horrocks on last week's show. And they did in the penultimate round, they secured the State League 2 women's title. Well done to Lara United. And also, tonight we've got a big jam-packed show and a very, very strong Geelong Rangers women's flavour. And the Geelong Rangers women, in their debut season in the State League competition, They took out the State League 3 West Division in brilliant fashion, in emphatic fashion, mind you, defeating Altona East Phoenix at Myers Reserve. We've got some great footage. We've also got some really good footage of the assistant coach, Tony Horrocks, the president, Lisa Brooks. They'll be coming on a little later on in the show. But we've actually had to have a late substitution with one of our guests. Steve, tell us about that.
We had the star goal scorer from the Geelong Rangers Women's State 3 West side, Danny Mandich, lined up. She's out of action tonight. Her voice is no good for the show tonight, and she's been replaced by ALLY VAN DALEN.
Now we have got exclusive footage of the post-match celebrations. Once you do see those post-match celebrations, you'll probably understand why Danny has come down with a bout of laryngitis, or she's lost her voice. But her loyal deputy, her vice captain, ALLY VAN DALEN, she will be joining us a little bit later on to fly the Rangers flag. She'll tell us all about the season that was, the post-match celebrations, and indeed the plans for next season. So we'll be speaking to ALLY VAN DALEN from the Geelong Rangers a little bit later on in the show. But before that, Steve, we've got a really important guest from the Geelong Region Football Committee. Tell us more.
Yeah, Rob PALMIARCIOTTI's agreed to come and have a chat to us about what's been happening at the GRFC at the moment. There's been a bit of news, I think, since we last heard from the committee.
Yeah, so that is going to, the G21 soccer strategy, for those not in the know, hasn't been updated, I think, in 10 years or something like that. So it's the process is about to start, or has kicked off, in fact, and we'll find out a little bit more about that. And also this time last week, the Geelong Region Football Committee held its first face-to-face meeting with clubs at the Corio Soccer Club in 3 years, I think it was. Wow. So we'll definitely find out some more stuff about that. Lots of news happening, lots of interesting little stories and snippets and what you're not happening all around the region. But a big, before we go any further, a huge shout out to our major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show, Barry Plant Geelong. They're there in Jeringhap Street, and their rental office, or rental sales office, if you like, there in Ryrie Street, just around the corner. So for all your real estate needs, go visit Barry Plant Geelong, get in touch with them, and they will surely look after you. Steve, we're going to take a very, very short break. But before we do, actually, I am going to let viewers in on a little secret. It's episode 96, episode 100. Well, that's in 4 weeks' time. We're planning a huge post-season party. We're going to have lots and lots of guests, and we're hoping to make it a live show in front of a studio audience, and you'll be more than welcome to attend. And that is going to be a huge way to see off what has been a great 2022 season. So stay tuned for information about that. Yeah. We're going to return, and when we return, it's the big weekend roundup, folks. Don't go away. At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers at Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate, and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
All right, well, let's start the news roundup. NPL 2 North Geelong Warriors were going for the title. They already sealed promotion last week, which was something that was rightfully and well celebrated, but they couldn't get the job done up at Campbell Reserve against Moreland City. A tough break for North Geelong Warriors, who'd been sitting on top of the table for many, many weeks now, and it came down to that final match of the season. It was first versus second, and the host ended up getting the job done. Jamie Latham scoring for Moreland City on 6 minutes. North couldn't peg them back. A goal to equalise would have been enough to take the title. So they still get promotion, which is fantastic, to the top tier of the Victorian football pyramid next season. But they weren't able to celebrate with the champions title against their name, unfortunately, Tonchi.
No, they weren't. And look, whether their grand final was the week prior when they played Bulleen, look, they had a huge contingent of supporters. There's a whole bus actually of Geelong supporters, North Geelong supporters that went up the highway. They just weren't able to do the job. Moreland were very, very motivated, as evidenced by that goal after just 6 minutes. But look, if we take a look at that ladder, North Geelong and Moreland City will be in NPL next year. Now that's huge. What that means is, Steve, firstly, all of North Geelong's games will be streamed, home and away. So that's going to be a big thing. No doubt
and the 21s too.
And the 21s as well. Exactly right. And look, this is an interesting thing. Obviously, they're going to have to go out and recruit. There's no doubt about that. And there's some very good youngsters coming up through the ranks. And those 21s, I think they are going to be even better next year than they were this year, because they'll have some quality players. And dare I say, there may be even some senior players that will be playing in the 21s, because, they'll need that depth. They'll need to bide their time while, that they wait for an opportunity in the seniors. So I think that's going to be just very much quality. What sort of effect will that have on other Geelong clubs? Well, no doubt clubs like maybe Geelong, maybe even Corio will benefit, possibly even Rangers, because there'll be a lot of youngsters not able to break into, the NPL team, not able to break into the under-21 team. And so no doubt there could be a bit of a flow-on effect. And, some of the talented 16, 17, 18-year-olds in search of senior football may be looking to do a year, so to speak, on loan at one of the lower league clubs. So I think that could be quite, North Geelong getting into the NPL could have really positive ramifications for the region. My thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, no, I echo all of those thoughts, Tonch. That's spot on. I'm very excited to see North back there, and it's going to be a challenging season next year, but exciting to see what happens. And it's an opportunity that I hope that North can take with both hands.
Now, while we're talking on the subject of North Geelong, one of their most recent exports, if you like, Noah Skoko, 16-year-old Noah Skoko, last week broke into the Croatian under-17 team. Now, this is quite disappointing news in the sense that he was overlooked for an under-16 Australian talent identification camp in Canberra about 2 months ago. Will that come back to bite Australia, the Socceroos, future Socceroos? I mean, it's not over yet, because he's under FIFA rules, you can be an amateur, you can be a junior and play at different countries, multiple countries. It's really when it comes to the senior team. So there's still plenty of time. But look, in the meantime, Geelong has another international, Noah Skoko, making the Croatian under-17 team. There is right in the middle, number 18. Now, he made his debut coming off the bench in the 64th minute in Croatia's game against Turkey at the Telki Cup. It's an underage tournament in Hungary. In the second game against the Hungarians, against the host team, Skoko scored in the 36th minute, Croatia's first goal. Eventually, Croatia drew 2-2 with Hungary. And he also played in the third game, and there's another picture of him, once again, number 18 there.
Home kit.
Wow, yeah, very, very red and white.
Looking sharp.
I think they won. They defeated Iceland 6-1 to finish second overall. So, look, congratulations to North Geelong for producing yet another international, and well done to young Noah Skoko. He's just going to be an electrifying player, and who knows? Hopefully, the Socceroo, Olyroos, young Socceroos, selectors can
Yeah,
undo.
I don't want to be too cynical, Tonchi, but is it because he's not from Sydney? Is that why he didn't get,
Yeah. Oh,
Well, I had to say it.
Well, what do you think, folks? We'd love to hear your thoughts, but that has been a common. Look, Steve, we've talked about this, and we've talked about this particular subject on Football Out West with a lot of high-credentialed coaches. They all agree that the talent identification system in Australia is very lacking. And look, we can tell because of some of the poor results of the junior teams internationally in Asia and what you're not. So maybe, mate, you could be right. You could be very right. Moving on to NPL 3. What happened in NPL 3 with Geelong?
Yeah, Geelong finished the season against a pretty stacked Western United team who, after they were knocked out of the Australia Cup the previous week, they fielded a lot of their star players, or senior level players, including the likes of Noah Bodic, who scored in this one, but it was Sabit Noor who scored a hat-trick before half-time that really killed off the game as far as Geelong's hopes were concerned. But there was a good story in the 4-1 loss because a 16-year-old goalkeeper got a debut there, Tonchi. That's good news.
Yes. Josh Mikak. I know his dad very well. Actually, used to go to school with Tom. And, he's been telling me every time I've been going to Stead Park, this guy's kid's a gun, this kid's a gun. And he obviously is. He's at the age of 16, he's broken into the senior team. Obviously, it was a dead rubber for Geelong. But the good thing is, just giving these youngsters an opportunity. Look, goalkeepers always mature a little bit later than your outfield players. But for a 16-year-old to make his debut, and I tell you what a great game to make your debut against a really top side like Western United, where, look, at the end of the day, he got good practice. The result was 4-1. Ibrahim Mohammed, I think, was a scorer for Geelong. But
indeed, yes.
Yeah, but as you say, like, I watched bits and pieces of that game, and look, Western United were just polished. They did need to win. They needed to ensure that they could finish in the top 4. If they had a loss, Nunawading City could have quite easily jumped over them. So it was a big game for Western United, and in the end they did what they had to do and they got there. So great result. But a great news story. Young Josh Mikak making the grade there at Stead Park, and featuring amongst those like players on the right hand side that all made their senior appearances for the Lions in 2022. So great news story. Let's move along to State 1.
Yeah, good result. Santino Mamone in the comments, and I saw him Saturday evening, which was good to have the pleasure of doing that. And he was happy because Cryo 3-1 winners against Altona City. All the goals in the second half. Festim Almazi, also a goal for Roach, and Vedran Stojanovic, who is credited with a goal at each end of the ground as well. An own goal and a goal for Cryo in the 89th minute. So a great way to finish the season, and the party was certainly proceeding at Hume Reserve after this match, if what I'm hearing is correct. So well done to Cryo on a really strong finish to the season when they could have thrown in the towel and ended up being relegation fodder. They certainly turned things around, didn't they?
They did indeed. Another team that did very, very well towards the latter part of the season was the Geelong Rangers. The Rangers at one stage looked like they were definitely destined for the drop. But no, they had a fantastic second half of the season, pretty much undefeated in the last, I think, 8 or 9 games. A lot of it had to do with the American import, Joseph Garcia, who scored yet again. So he scored, it was the identical scorers from last week, Steve. Last week, the result was 2-2.
Yeah, Jordan Savinsky as well.
Yeah, Jordan Savinsky and Joe Garcia. And this week against Altona East, mind you, not a bad result against a team that finished in the top 4, and quite convincingly too. So Rangers lived to
and with 10 men as well. They had Liotta sent off on 23 minutes, so they played with 10 men for more than half the game as well. The Rangers.
Yeah, well done there.
Well done.
Well done to the Geelong Rangers. A cheerio to all the Geelong Rangers folks that are tuning into tonight's show. Obviously, the reason is because we are going to have a very, very strong Geelong Rangers flavour in the latter part of this show when we catch up with ALLY VAN DALEN, the vice captain of the Geelong Rangers women's team, the championship-winning Geelong Rangers women's team. Moving on to State 4. Now, this league is going to expand by the number of Geelong representative teams in this competition next year. So let's hear more about Geelong. Let's hear more about State 4, Steve.
Yeah, State 4 West. On the weekend, we had our matches involving our local teams. Surf Coast defeating Laverton, which is a very good result, you have to say. Jasko Ikanovic and Tom Dunn with the goals, and that is a really good result there at home. Golden Plains defeating Bell Park. Nee Ray with the goal, 1-0 winners, and that's a good way to finish the season for the Golden Plains side in the Midland Highway Derby. What better way to finish the season for them with a win over the All Whites, the neighbours from up the road?
Absolutely. Now, big shout out to Ryan Baldacchino, the Golden Plains coach who travels every week from Camberwell. That is incredible commitment. And he really believed in his squad. It was a very young squad. And towards the end of the season, they really started picking up points and started doing well. Big shout out to Bell Park coach Mike Spazewski, who was not in attendance on the weekend. And he said, when he told me the result, he goes, it was a bad result. But the good news is I wasn't there to see it. Apparently he was ill. And
I like your sense of humour. That's good.
I do too as well. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. But look, in State 5, the State 5 champions, congratulations to the Blue and Whites from Grovedale Reserve. As we said, the equation was very, very simple. All they had to do was win on the final day of competition. That they did. Steve, tell us a bit more about what transpired in Men's State League 5.
Yeah, well, certainly Barwon had to win this match with Melton Phoenix breathing down their neck. They weren't going to drop any points, so they had to win. If they did so, they would get through by virtue of their superior goal difference. It was 0-0 at halftime, though, so things were a little bit tense down there at Grovedale. And a good second half performance, though, when they once they broke the shackles and found that first goal to break through, and then it was easy ride home. And after that, Liam Sim with a couple, Christian Mann on the score sheet as well to take out the golden boot narrowly ahead of his teammate Milton Bailey.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, before we wrap up the Men's State League roundup, we're going to take a very, very short break shortly, and then we'll return with the women's roundup and then the local league roundup. But big shout out to Surf Coast on the weekend. Apart from winning against Laverton, great result, 2-0 there at Banyul Warrior Reserve, but they officially unveiled their new club rooms or their new pavilion. And have a look at that. Is that not awesome?
That's worth going to have a look at, I think. Maybe we can do a live show from there sometime.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, and that's sort of kind of, I guess it's adjacent to the existing pavilion that they used to have, but this is now all their own. So a big congratulations to everyone at Surf Coast who has worked tirelessly over the last few years to get this up and running. I'd definitely love to go see this, in the next few weeks. But congratulations once again to everyone involved at Surf Coast. They've got a pavilion now that overlooks both the synthetic pitch and the main pitch as well. So that is absolutely fantastic. Undercover. Most importantly, though, Steve, it's now their own. Yeah, it's out of the wind. Yeah,
I was going to say that was the most important thing down there. But you're dead right. That's now their own. They can hang up and have pride of place with their pennants and what have you in there, and their memorabilia, and that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic. We're going to take a short break, folks. Don't go away when we return. It's part 2 of our weekend roundup. And then we've got our first guest, Robert PALMIARCIOTTI, the Deputy Chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee. He's in the green room. He's getting pampered. He's getting fed chips, popcorn, chocolates, everything like that. We're treating him like a king. It is the place to be. And I don't know if you'll want to come on air because I think you'll probably want to stay there. But we'll drag him kicking and screaming and to answer a few questions about what is happening at the Geelong Region Football Committee. But that's all happening after the break. Don't go away, folks.
As the first solar tube skylight installer in Victoria, Scotsco Skylighting has nearly 30 years of experience and offers a variety of services including custom-made skylights, high-quality Velux skylights, and a variety of solar tube daylighting systems. The benefits of having a skylight in your home are many. They let natural light into your space, and with that light comes solar heat, improving your mood and even helping with performance in workplaces. Plus, heating your home with sunlight can save on heating costs during the chilly seasons. Cosmetic changes like skylights can add equity into your home, and, similar to adding mirrors on the walls, skylights can make a room feel bigger and more spacious. It's about time you enjoyed all these benefits plus more. So what are you waiting for? To get a free daylight assessment and installation quote, call our founder and owner Adrian Begg on 0409 823 177 or visit our website at www.scotscoskylights.com.au. Scotsco Skylighting is proudly Geelong owned and operated.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Big shout out to Adrian Begg from Scotsco Skylights, our newest business advertising sponsor. If you'd like to get your business on the Geelong Region Soccer Show and in front of hundreds, in front of thousands of members of our local soccer football community, get in touch with us at communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. Steve, over to you, mate. Part 2 of the roundup, the weekly roundup.
I was just looking at that eye-catching skylights commercial. We've actually got a bit of a leak in our skylight in the new place here, so I might have to give Adrian a call and get that sorted out. But all right, let's go back. Where were we? Men's State League 5, and we had the big result for Barwon, but there were some other games played as well, and Lara defeated West Point 2-1. Connor McGrath and Joel Matouch found the back of the net there, so that means that Lara finished the season in 7th place on the table there. Mid-table finish for Lara. Looking at the other results, Deakin University, they defeated Ballarat. Isaga Kilimbe scoring the only goal of the game. And the Deakin Ducks, well, they've had a pretty good season. They finished in 5th place. And the other team, of course, in that comp was Surfside Waves. And they were narrowly defeated, unfortunately, on the final day of the season by Wyndham FC. Bodie Ditloff and Daniel Benson scored the goals, but good effort to everyone at the Waves for sticking by this season, and we hope to see them get some better things next year.
Yes, State League 5 will only number 3 Geelong clubs next year, so less local derbies in that competition as Barwon move on to State 4, and there will be 4 Geelong teams in that competition, so there'll be a little bit more derbies in State 4. Now, it was a homecoming of sorts for one former North Geelong Warrior. Yesterday, when Brunswick Zebras came to visit and take on North Geelong Warriors in Women's State League 1, Laura Sporanovic, one of, well, probably the most decorated female footballer to come out of Alco Park. She was donning the black and white stripes of Brunswick Juventus. Her team won 6-1. She scored 1 goal, I do believe, as well. And for North Geelong, the lone goal scorer was Lara Herich. All in all, a very, very successful year for North Geelong in the there's still one more round to come, of course, but a very successful year for North Geelong after getting doubly promoted, if you like, going from State 1 and then going on to State, or from State 3 to State 2, and then from State 2 to State 1. So they've done very, very well, and good on them. I think the foundations certainly are there for next year to have a big, big year in State 1. Brunswick Juventus, Essendon Royals and Spring Hills get promoted to VPLW. So you certainly think that North Geelong Warriors would be one of the heavyweights in State League 1 next season. But well done to the Warriors. Moving along now to if we actually look at the VPLW ladder, that's from their season finished last week. There is no relegation in this competition because you've got 4 of the teams, Preston, Boroondara, Southern United, and we believe Casey Comets, not Melbourne University, because Melbourne University does not have juniors, does not have the infrastructure to go into NPLW, so their spot will be taken by Casey Comets. So judging by that, Steve, you'd also expect that Geelong Galaxy next year will be, on form. They would have to be one of the heavyweights in the VPLW competition next year.
Yeah, particularly if they maintain the squad that they had, young squad, gaining in experience, perhaps add a couple of more, always good to add a couple of international experienced players as well as they've done in the past at Galaxy. So, good luck to Galaxy next season. And, they could be top of the tree this time next year in that VPLW, and I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yep. State 2, it's all about the Invincibles. Lara United with 1 game to go. They cannot be dislodged from the top there. As we said, they did exceptionally well to get away from Altona
City.
Altona City 1-0, and I think we may even have some footage of that. There we go.
It was a late.
There we go. And that was from Lara Recreation Reserve yesterday, and the celebrations continue. Was a late goal, wasn't it? You were about to say that.
Yeah, Izzy Wilkinson in 88 on the 88th minute, familiar scorer. And they don't come too much later than that. But what impressed me, not only the strike, but also the crowd reaction there too. It sounded like there was a huge crowd in attendance. And from what I've heard, that was the case yesterday. And shout out to everyone there at the club, including some of the junior coaches. Colin Rose, one of my running buddies, he was one of the junior coaches there that got some of the girls playing, the junior girls playing a match at half time on the pitch there as well. So good to see local clubs doing things like that to get the juniors and the seniors all together at one time.
Yeah, now State 3, it's all about the State 3, and let's have a quick look at this, mate. Tell us who were the scorers and how did yesterday progress in this regard?
Yeah, it was a good result yesterday in the round 17 match. Geelong Rangers, they knew if they won, they would get the title, and the goals were from ALLY VAN DALEN, Ruby McCloskey, and Danny Mandich, one of those who won't be joining us tonight and one who will be, those 3 scorers. Here's a bit of footage from the match in this 3-0 win.
I popped up to the Myers Reserve Complex and caught the last bit of this. I did see the 3rd goal, which was incidentally scored by Danny Mandich, but a good crowd. It was a beautiful sunny day. Rangers, the ladies really moved the ball around really well. It was fantastic to see, actually. They used the width of the field quite well. They've seen, look, if they can get their conditioning, right in the preseason and have a big preseason in that sense, I think this could be a team that could do really, really well in State 2. They had a good run in the Nike FC Cup. They've got some fantastic ball players, some great ball players with great ball control. Danny Mandich, she's the perfect target up front there. She's number 9, and she's quite strong and works very hard off the ball as well. And she scored, 20-something goals like that for the season. Like I said, I was really impressed with the crowd, Steve. And, it's glory days, I think, for Geelong Rangers, particularly the women. And there she is. Listen to the crowd. I think her coaches have been... and this is just about the final whistle goes here, and watch the scenes of jubilation.
Even that dog, even the dog there was approving, I think, as well.
A fantastic result there for the Geelong Rangers. They did really well. State 2 competition next year, so it's going to be, we'll hear all about that later on. But after the game, I caught up with Tony Horrocks, the assistant coach of the Rangers, and also the president, Lisa Brooks. Let's hear what they had to say.
Look, fantastic atmosphere, but it's taken a full season to do it, so it's not just down to today. Today's gravy for us because we've got the game to go. But the girls incredibly hard work all year, so listen to the coaches, execute really well, and they deserve it. They deserve everything they're going to get.
They've worked so hard for this, Tonchi. It's been a lot of hard work, not just for this season, but the build-up behind it as well. And the coaches, to have Bonnie and Tony on board, really, experienced coaches that have led the girls and guided them to this championship, and they really deserve it. It's amazing.
And Danny Mandich, captain, leading goal scorer as well. She just pumps everyone up. Couple of words about Danny.
Danny's been a great captain this year. She's been a leader right from the start. She's actually celebrating a Geelong Rangers milestone of 50 games for our first female player as well today. So double celebrations all round for Danny. She's been great.
Well, congratulations to Danny Mandich, the first female footballer at Geelong Rangers to chalk up 50 games for the girls. She should have been here tonight, but she's got no voice. What sort of an excuse is that? But we will be joined a little bit later on by ALLY VAN DALEN, the vice captain of the Rangers. Footnote to men's round of action, female round of action, Steve, is there we go. Great photo there of the Horrocks Senior and Horrocks Junior. Ryan on the left, Tony on the right. Now this must be a record. They're both involved in championship winning teams for two different clubs in two different divisions. Well done there to the Horrocks. And to add to that, Ryan's partner, Rachel Lara, she plays at Geelong Rangers with her, I guess, future father-in-law, shall we call him that? So that's a little interesting bit of information there as well. So well done there. Let's turn our attention now to the local league, mate. Shall we start with the women? What happened with the Geelong Region Women's Division 1 competition on the weekend?
So we had the women's division, Geelong losing to the Deakin Ducks, 5-2. Hannah Gordon with the double, Alexandria Wolf with the double as well. Very familiar goal scorers there. And Andrea Thornton also on the score sheet in that one. We've also got... what other fixtures do we have on the weekend? You have to carry me a little bit tonight, Tonchi. I'm a little bit all over the shop, I have to admit.
That's all right. So Friday night, let's recap. Friday night, Bowen defeated Geelong Rangers 1-0. Surf Coast defeated Drysdale 3-0. And then we had the lone fixture on Sunday on Saturday, I think it was. That was Saturday.
So that was the 5-2 game that we mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes.
5-2 that Deakin Ducks defeated Geelong. So well done there to all those sides. Deakin Ducks and Surf Coast still continuing their head-to-head battle at the top. But yeah, Geelong's, well, I won't say closing in, but they're sort of nudging. They've definitely got that third spot well clear, and Bowen look like cementing their fourth position in the top four positions. So things going well there. Turning our attention now to the Geelong men's competition. The men's competition, also we had one game played on the weekend on Friday night. Bell Park taking on Bowen. And the lone goal scorer there was
Nathan Munoz on the score sheet. Look out.
A good friend of yours, yes. So Bell Park doing well, getting another result there. FC Leopold, though, they've got 3 games in hand, so they still could potentially, if they win all 3 of those games, they could quite easily move into position, that top position. For this week, men's state league and the women's men's state league and men's NPL have finished. We can now turn our attention to the local competition. There's the penultimate round will be played this weekend. All the games are on Sunday. Leopold hosting Armstrong, Bell Park hosting Surf Coast, and Bowen taking on Breakwater Eagles at Grovedale Reserve. So some interesting fixtures happening there, no doubt. That pretty much brings us to the end of our roundup. Now, whilst we're on the subject of women and talking about women, I would get slaughtered if I didn't mention this. A big happy birthday shout out to my mother-in-law, Franca. She claims she's 21 today, so happy 21st birthday.
Happy 21st.
Which would make her younger than me, and what's even more scary, younger than her daughter, but she's a remarkable woman, Franca. So happy birthday to you. I think I'd get slaughtered if I didn't say there. There's a little birthday party happening there, and I'm unable to be there, but I am in spirit. Steve, we're going to take a break. When we return, we've got our very, very first guest, and who may that be?
Yep, Rob PALMIARCIOTTI, Geelong Region Football Association representative, is going to have a little chat to us about what's been happening with the strategic plan.
Yeah, and a little later on, the vice-captain of the Geelong Rangers senior women's team, ALLY VAN DALEN, she'll also be joining us as well, folks. Don't go away. We'll be back very, very shortly after these short messages from our major sponsor.
At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers of Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is our absolute pleasure to introduce our first guest for tonight. He's the Deputy Chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, Mr. Robert PALMIARCIOTTI. Robert, welcome to the... Oh, there's a bit of noise there, background noise. How are you, Rob? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Yeah, hope you can hear me. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Excellent. Well, first of all, before we start, now you're a former player of North Geelong Warriors and played in the halcyon days when the club was in the VPL, the Victorian Premier League. You must be pretty excited, pretty happy to see your old club back in the top flight in the NPL Victoria competition next season.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. They did well this year. Somewhat a bit of a surprise, I think. Wasn't overly expected, but I went to see a couple of good matches this year, and they certainly performed. And let's see how they go next year. Certainly a jump. It's certainly a jump to the top division. Like you mentioned, Tonchi, they need a couple of players, etc. So it's tough. It's really tough. So I hope they do. They represent Geelong in the highest division. So wish them all the best.
Now, mate, in your role as Deputy Chairman of the Geelong Region Football Committee, speaking of some feel-good stories in recent weeks, last week, the GRFC held its first face-to-face meeting with all the representatives from the various clubs in Geelong in 3 years, something like that, because of bloody COVID having to ruin all of these face-to-face gatherings. But it was held at the Corio Soccer Club at the magnificent new club rooms there. Mate, tell us, how did the meeting go, and what were some of the main things that transpired that came out of the meeting? Yeah,
it was you're right. It was the first face-to-face meeting for some time. And it was almost strange. I think we've got so used to having video conference meeting that meeting to face now is now the exception. It was almost like the first time you have a video conference meeting, you think, well, this is different now. Having a face-to-face meeting, almost at the start, it felt awkward. So I think we've got so used to video conference meetings.
We've forgotten how to socialise and network.
There's a little bit of that. But no, but at the same time, it's exciting. You meet people face to face. Video conference goes a long way to still building relationships, but it was good to meet face to face. It was a huge attendance. 20 out of 21 clubs attended. And in fact, the club that didn't attend apologised. So full attendance. We haven't always had that, and I think the attraction was maybe the face-to-face meeting, but probably more so the announcement and introduction of the strategic work that we're going to do, the building of a strategic plan. So most clubs came with multiple representatives. A couple came with up to 4 representatives, actually. So it was a big room. And hosted by Mario at their new facility, which was exciting as well to see what can be achieved, what council's willing to invest in the game, like we saw with Surf Coast just then as well. So council is sort of showing that they're definitely supporting. In fact, they're 2 different councils as well.
Yeah.
So Surf Coast Shire and then Geelong Council. So it was a certainly exciting meeting where we spoke about the strategy, which I can talk a little bit more about.
Yeah. So
sure. Go ahead.
Let's hear about it.
Well, basically, it was decided by the GRFC unanimously, funded by the GRFC itself, to go ahead and do a strategic plan. We've engaged Inside Edge, which is a reputable independent consultant that does this for a living. Basically, they've done various plans for associations around Australia, and particularly Geelong. They've done the AFL Darwin one for AFL. They've done cricket. They've done hockey. So we've engaged them to commence this plan. The Geelong region has it as a plan for 11 years, and to be fair and frank, no one really even knew that existed. No one's been using it. I think it was at a time when the GRFC didn't even exist, so the game was
correct.
I'm not sure where it was.
And what sort of time frame, Rob, can we expect that they'll be?
But I'm sure that plan, it helped gain some facilities, I think, but it wasn't overly useful. It also focused mainly on facilities. While this plan we're going to come up with is pretty going to answer some questions. I mean, what do we want to achieve? As a region, is it development? Is it participation? Is it all of it, etc.? Then the next thing is what do we need to do to achieve that? And that's more than facilities. It's the other night, in fact, Inside Edge commenced the process and asked all the clubs what are the 3 priorities to achieve our goals, and pretty much it was around facilities, coaching. We need better coaching, both for participation and development. We need volunteering is an issue. As we grow, where are the volunteers? Lowering fees, revenue raising. So already we're starting to get some themes, I think, without anticipating what the plan's going to be. But then the next thing, of course, is coming up with an action plan. What are we going to do about it, right?
Yes. I mean, that's the other thing. We can talk about it, and we have. Sure. It's always been sort of a talk fest, isn't it, about all the problems we have. But actually putting it into action, that's a different story. And we sort of then seem to kind of get around the thing of like, oh, okay, which priority do we tackle first? Now, AFL Barwon are very good with their strategic plan in the sense that they sort of take the bull by the horns, and when they go to council or whoever, they say, in 2022, these are our priority projects. 2023, these are our priority projects. So there's no ifs or buts. Kind of everyone has to kind of toe the line and say, these are our main things, and council knows. And then instead of having 20, 30 clubs all knocking on their door, they've got this one representative body that says, okay, this is what we're going to focus on this year. Is Football Victoria, and in conjunction with GRFC, looking at doing something similar where it's a lot more of a kind of a coordinated approach to these 5 different councils and saying, look, folks, our priority has to be this year. Next year, we're going to do on something else. And that way being a lot more united and a lot more powerful in our united voice. Is that the plan ahead?
Well, pretty much correct. I think we're stronger together, aren't we? Stronger together.
100%,
So,
yep.
yeah, we're going to be stronger together, each club going off on their own, making demands. But the other thing is, even if a club can make individual requests, say, on facilities,
Yep.
but if it's not backed by a regional plan, it's very easy to not back that, for council to back it. I mean, the process of this plan is going to be that a number of people have been engaged, clubs and so forth, different stakeholders are going to be asked, okay, their opinion. Then the plan will be produced in draft, given to all the councils to tentatively approve. They'll put it out for comment. We'll put it out for comment. In fact, I had a thought while I was waiting. I think one good thing is once it's produced in draft is probably to bring it onto this show and discuss it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that would be a great idea. Yeah,
and Robert, if I can jump in, what sort of time frame do we think? There's a lot of steps involved in that process. What sort of time frame do we look for the final product?
Yeah, correct. Initially, we wanted to complete it before the next state election, which is in November the 25th, right? Yeah. It's not going to make that date, but already we'll have a bit of a draft plan, which should show the participation in the game, the forecast growth, including growth with 2 World Cups coming along, the men's and the women's that we're hosting.
Correct.
Showing gaps in facilities, showing maybe, population overlaid in our region, where are there clubs that are missing. So we'll have that data by around October, that draft plan. Then, so that'll be enough to any club to maybe talk to state MPs for the upcoming state election. The final, then it'll go probably to council around November, December for comment, tentative approval, and then out for comment around that period, and finished around February. Well, the date's February. I'm sceptical of that because always we know what the Christmas period's like here, and January is generally a write-off. So I would suggest around March it'll be completed.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's something to look forward to. And by the time next season rolls around, we hope to have a tangible kind of a document that's really going to start to push us forward. And look, it's been a great year. I know talking to Foddy Kipring from Football Victoria, he was telling me that the numbers this year of players playing was really good, like almost at the pre-COVID levels of 2019. So there is a lot of interest for people to play. And we've always had that problem of trying to retain them, and facilities, infrastructure, coaches, and all of that seem to go hand in hand with all of that. Mate, apart from the strategic plan, there's a real bright future for Geelong football. We've seen some of the talented youngsters coming up through the ranks, but it's a real exciting time for the GRFC and all the member clubs. Tell us a bit more about that as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of other good things have happened. And we had the country championships this year that we hosted, and that was a huge event. 4,000 people in attendance. Apparently, some of the organisers had been around a while, said it was the best event ever. Our Geelong teams did well. So we made a little bit of a profit too, which goes back into the game, which will be good to use to implement the plan. So all in all, I think the region, Geelong Council estimated bought $4 million to the region in tourism spend.
Wow.
So yeah, I know it's huge. If you think about all the families coming to stay and consumption of hotels and food and so forth, other expenditure. So yeah, it's huge. It was a huge success. We had some large sponsors, Geelong Port and TAC come on board. I'm not sure the game's ever seen sponsors of this size.
Blue chip.
Yeah, it's fine to get your and that's I think what the GRFC, the game as a whole can obtain if we're united is these larger blue chip. They're not as interested to sponsor one club, right? Yeah, because they don't get as much exposure, right? But if you say to them, do you want to sponsor the whole Geelong region for an initiative, that's a different matter, right? Yeah. So that was exciting. We had a lot of politicians attend as well. So I think we built relationship with them, councillors, state MPs, federal. So I think we're building the sort of foundation to grow the game. So you throw the plan in there, a really exciting initiative, which really hasn't been launched or communicated that well, but it just started. Is Football Victoria actually going into schools in the Geelong region?
Okay.
And I don't know about you, but since the day I've been around, everyone always says, we've got to get into the schools. We've got to get into the schools. You know?
Absolutely.
Our game lends itself. Once people try it, they tend to like it. And that's why it's the most popular sport in the world. Right? Because people want to play, like to play it. It's easy to play, isn't it? You can play 3 against 2.
Correct.
Play with a can, squash can. So,
a couple of jumpers.
Yeah, correct. And a couple of jumps, right? So, and goals. You don't need a referee, and you'd go off and play. Both genders can play together. So, Football Victoria have started going to the schools in our region, which is huge, I think. I think you get that if we're working on how to connect interested players to clubs now, particularly during this period. I mean, just capturing their details because clubs are obviously closing now until next season. So we get enough interested party. I think the Men's World Cup will give us a boost as well. Played it not in June when it's difficult to get up to watch matches in the freezing cold, but in November at good times.
Barbecue weather.
A lot of interest with Australia. What happened with the way they qualified and so forth, and the goalkeeper's become a superstar. So the Men's World Cup, and then of course, let's not talk about the Women's World Cup that we're hosting.
Yes, that's going to be massive.
It's going to be massive, right? It's going to be massive. So we need the other things in the background to sort of, because I'd imagine people are watching the Men's World Cup and the Women's and saying, oh, how do I play? How do I join this sport? Right? So I think, and then to top it off, we might go ask councils for more facilities, and the first question they're going to ask is, well, you haven't got a plan, have you? And then we can say, no, we actually have. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You've got a plan? Okay, so I think
it sounds so simple.
Yeah.
Rob, I was going to say, it sounds so simple and so just logical that we'd have a strategic plan, an updated one, and we haven't had it for more than a decade. But look, finally things are moving in the right direction. We're going to have to leave it there, unfortunately, because we are running late. We're going to have to get you and Mike McKinstry on the show before the season ends. We have got our 100th episode, by the way, coming up in about 4 weeks' time. So I think that might be a perfect time to get one or both of you guys on, and maybe even a forum on our live show as well.
On our live show. Actually, Tonchi, just really quickly, can we probe Robert? Is there any hints on where the local league grand finals might be played this year?
Oh, that's
exciting with the finals coming up.
No, I don't know. In fact, in the media the other night, people asked, and there's some clubs that have expressed interest, but Football Victoria didn't even want to name those clubs, so I don't even know who's expressed interest. I really don't know.
Oh, well, we're going to have to get to the bottom of it and find out very, very soon. But, Rob, thank you so much for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show.
Thanks, Rob.
Absolute pleasure, and keep up the good work at the GRFC.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Have a good show.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob PALMIARCIOTTI from the GRFC. Now, yesterday, it was a huge day at Myers Reserve. At the end of the game, it was the celebrations in the dressing room were insane. Let me just say that. We're going to have a little sneak peek in the Rangers dressing room of what happened after the game, and capture some of the atmosphere that went on in the club rooms, in the change rooms after Rangers defeated Altona East Phoenix 3-0 and hence captured the State League 3 women's title. After that, we're going to have our second guest for the evening, Vice Captain of the Geelong Rangers, ALLY VAN DALEN. She'll be joining us. Don't go away, folks. Watch this. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and it's no surprise that Captain Danny Mandich, who was supposed to be here tonight, wasn't able to be here because she lost her voice, and we could tell there exactly why. But taking her place off the substitutes bench, ALLY VAN DALEN, the vice captain. ALLY, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, and shout out to Danny. I look forward to my present coming in the mail to me tomorrow.
Now, ALLY, your voice is sounding very crisp still. What's your secret that Danny needs to take attention to?
Clearly, I just didn't go hard enough singing the song. That's a personal reflection on me.
No. Well, look, to the captain there, congratulations. Her 50th game, scored something like 20-odd goals this year. Fantastic effort. But look, all round, it was a brilliant effort by the girls. First year in state league competition. After being a powerhouse of the local league over the last few years, and that I guess that form continued into the state leagues. Were you surprised by the success this year, or because you did have a good run in the preseason Nike FC Cup, so you probably expected to do well, but did you think you'd do this well?
I think we did. To be honest, we've been working for this for years now, and we've had obviously some success in the local leagues. And coming into the Nike Cup, we had a real focus that we wanted to push the barriers and do whatever we can to go as far as we can, and we did that. And we did our club proud, and we knew that coming into State League 3, we wanted it to be successful, and we wanted to show exactly what we can do. And I think we've done that. So it's good vibes all around.
Now, playing under your coach, Foddy Kiprian, assisted by Tony Horitz, what's it like playing under those two? Have they added something extra to your game this season?
Yeah. So both of the guys, they've really leveled up, what we have in the squad already, and by attracting other players, they're just fantastic. I couldn't say a bad word about those guys. They treat us as professionals, and they champion us in every way possible, whether it's, fighting gender equality or just going out there to do our best. They're always supporting us. So, yeah, we love those guys.
Now, ALLY, apart from Danny, yourself, obviously, there have been a lot of good players that have come up, throughout the year, but there's also been a lot of younger players as well. We had Edie Aberti on the show about a month or so ago, a 13-year-old doing so well, but there's been some other standout players as well. Who have been some of your teammates that have really kind of been inspirational to you this year and have really kind of, during, the long, hot, cold winter months and this and that have pushed you and motivated you to turn up to training week after week, turn up to games and perform really well? Who are some of the characters in the dressing room?
Characters in the dressing room, that would be number one, Taylor Zito. Go Shepparton. But in terms of who inspires me, it's the younger girls. It's Edie's cousin Marla, Nava and Jamelia, 3 young girls who've come up the ranks with us, and they try their hardest. They're at every training session, and when they get on the pitch, they just do so well. So I couldn't be prouder of those girls, and Edie as well.
It sounds like a real family atmosphere within the team there, ALLY. But you mentioned gender equality within and your coaches championing that as well with you. Where do you think the Rangers sit in terms of some of the other clubs that getting around where maybe your friends are playing and stuff? Do you think the Rangers are a benchmark club for gender equality within their ranks?
Absolutely. I think we're doing everything that we can. We have a really supportive committee who empowers us to put forward ideas, to work on bringing some ideas to life as well. So yeah, shout out to Timmy, Lisa and Hannah for always supporting us. I can't say much about the other clubs, unfortunately, but I know that we're doing everything that we can to make it a great environment from juniors all the way up to seniors.
Look, I can speak from personal experience. I went to see the Rangers men once this year, and that was during a Geelong AFL game. So there may have been a lot of people there, and I know running into former GRFC chairperson Joe Plummer, who turned up straight from the Geelong game and went to the to the Rangers game. And then comparing that to what I saw yesterday when I rocked up to Myers Reserve, and I kid you not, there were probably just as many, if not many, more supporters at the women's game than there were at the men's game. So that's brilliant to see, and that's well done. It's really good to see. And simply by that, you can see that the club puts a lot of emphasis on all sections of the club. It's whether it's the men, whether it's the women. Moving up to State 2, so you'll be kind of parallel with the men. The men are in State 2, and now the women will be in State 2. Obviously, that's a big jump, going from community to State 3 and now to State 2. The level of commitment, the level of dedication, the level of professionalism, I suppose everything has to rise. Is this squad ready for that, or will there need to be some new recruits brought in from the side to just to give it that little bit of freshness to the squad? What's your thoughts on that?
Good question. I would say, going based off what I hear in the change rooms, talking to my fellow players, they are ready, and we've been having conversations about State League 2 weeks ago. So we've been putting those building blocks in. Fantastic. We're already excited for pre-season. We already know how we want to attack the next season as well, laying out expectations and goals together. And so we know what we want to reach. But of course, we obviously want to have fresh blood come to our club. We love and pride ourselves on the way that we welcome new players. And really, it's just an opportunity to have more friends. So why not?
That's awesome. When you look at it, Lara now promoted to State 1. There's going to be a Geelong derby next year with North Geelong. Galaxy will probably be a heavyweight of the VPLW competition. And look, all of a sudden we've got four women's teams in the state competitions. I'd love to see some more, whether it's Barwon or Surf Coast or even Deakin making that jump up, because the quality of football is just going to increase dramatically. I mean, Steve, don't know about you, but that really excites me about 2023.
Oh, absolutely. But just still on 2022, Ali, I wanted to ask you about your own form. How have you seen your season? You've played 9 games in the league, according to the stats that I'm seeing here. Did you hope to get out on the paddock a few more times? And when you have you been happy with your function in the team?
That's a personal problem, Steve. No, I played game 1, and I was doing okay, and then I had my foot broken. So I spent 5 weeks on the sidelines, just trying to keep up with the team and doing what I can. And obviously coming off an injury, it is hard, and you're trying to fight for your spot back. But going back off the feedback that I've had from the coaches, and they've been with me every step of the way. Last few weeks, I've done all right. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with where I'm going.
Oh, good to hear.
And where would you rate, or what would you rate yourself at? What sort of position is your favourite position?
Goodness, Foddy, I hope you're listening, because I'm actually known as the utility player of the team. So I get put wherever the team needs me. But look, I love playing anywhere on the wing. Yeah. So left or right midfield, or left or right back. I like having my space and being able to do what I can with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. Now, look, before we get to next season, I'm already looking forward to next season, because I'm so excited about 2023. But before we get to that, what's the plans for, look, obviously next week we've still got one more game to go. After that, end of year presentation, end of season trip. Is there going to be a girls' weekend away, or end of season trip anywhere? What are the plans for the post-season festivities, if you like?
God, I hope there's going to be a trip. I've done a lot of shout outs here, but I hope the social committee is watching, and I'm keenly looking forward to that post-season trip. But we're a good bunch of girls, and regardless of whether it's off season or during the season, look, we love to get around each other and have a couple of drinks. So I'm sure there won't be any shortage of social catch-ups in the off season.
Steve?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Well, I think you can't have a team winning the title and not going away and having a trip to celebrate the occasion, because, well, if you don't do that, well, what are we playing football for at the end of the day, almost, apart from the love of the game? Yeah. Definitely. Do you think you'll retain a lot of the players for next season as well? Do you think, are the girls saying
good
yes,
question.
Or is it focusing on this week still?
still focusing on this week. But look, I think, you know, the environment and the culture that we've had, you know, for the last 2 years and what we've built upon, it's just been incredible. And as I said, and I've mentioned many times, we're all friends. So it'd be sad if someone leaves, but, you know, we wish them all the best. But I think a lot of us will stay around for next year.
Yeah, if we have a look at the ladder there, Rangers sitting on pretty on top, 4 points clear, will remain in top spot, cannot be dislodged. But speaking about trips away, this weekend, the final trip to Melbourne to take on Melbourne University. That game's at Princess Park on Sunday at 3 p.m. Is there any plans of blooding any of the younger players in this particular game, or we'll just go out with the same old squad that you've done so well? I guess that's a question we should have really asked Foddy and Tony, the coaches. But would you like to see some of the younger players given a go as well, Ally?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but we've always taken that approach throughout the season. So the squad changes every week, but based on availability, based on injuries. But our younger players are always elevated, regardless of whichever game it is. So looking forward to it. Hopefully Edie joins us on the park this week. That'll be great to get around the kid. But yeah, we've also got Marla, Nava, and Jamelia as well.
Fantastic. And Ellie, any last words? Any last words of inspiration, advice to other female footballers that may be tuning in, that are, you know, eventually looking to go up that pathway to seniors? But is there something you'd like to say, whether it's to the Geelong Rangers or to the wider football community?
Just keep fighting the good fight and find a club that resonates with your core values, and you'll be seriously happy there. That's all you can ask for.
That's a good message to end on.
Absolutely. Good on you. Ally, all the very best for the last game of the season, for the post-season festivities, and indeed next year for, we're hoping, a very successful campaign in State League 2.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
And
Thanks,
thank you
Ally,
for
all the best.
And thank you for jumping on last minute. Danny owes you a big one.
She sure does. Thank you.
Good on you, ALLY VAN DALEN. Mate, on that note, what a great show tonight we had.
Yeah,
thank you very much
mate.
to
great
everyone
work once again.
Pardon me. Thank you to everyone who joined in tonight. And Steve, if only people knew the dramas that you had to endure to make tonight's show, rushing down the highway in this crazy, treacherous weather. Glad you got home.
Thank you for waiting for me and holding down the show tonight, mate. You've done very well.
You have as well. Folks, we're going to, that's it for tonight. We will see you next Monday night where we hope to have a special club focus, and we'll reveal that later this week who that club is going to be featured. But it is going to be a good opportunity to almost have a little bit of a post-season review of that club. You can have a guess who that club may well be, but we'll announce that in the next few days. Until next week on the Geelong Region Soccer Show, thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show, and a big shout out to Barry Plant Geelong, our major season sponsor, and also to our new business advertising sponsor, Scotsco Skylighting. Thank you very much, folks. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.